There are two situations where I recall truly overdosing, and paramedics and police had to come and hit me with some Narcan. I had overdosed in my buddy's bathroom on some heroin, and he was outside with the dog, and he came in. He told me I was green and blue, and I had asphyxiated on my own vomit, so I was drowning. And they had hit me with Narcan, I think 2 or 3 times. I'm not sure, but that brought me back, and they took me to the hospital. Then I had to keep coughing stuff out of my lungs, but I'm grateful for that Narcan. I had overdosed on just a little bit of dope. I had that fentanyl dope. It was out, and I had a high tolerance, and I just did a little bit. Wasn't used to it, and next thing I know, I'm waking up with the ambulance people holding me down. And it was cold outside, and I come out screaming. I was freaking out, didn't know what was going on. And they told me when I got to the hospital that I had overdosed, and they had hit me, I think, 4 or 5 times with that, and it was just a little bit of dope. So they had to hit me with that also. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here today. My family wouldn't have had a son for Christmas.
Okay, it was in April 2016 that I had my first near fatal incident with heroin. I was somewhere off the side of Interstate 264. At this time, I was blue. My friend had called an EMT, but I believe he was 15 or 20 minutes out. I'd stopped breathing. My friend was doing CPR on me and basically had given up hope. The EMT was still 15 minutes out. He then ran onto the on-ramp and flagged down a car, and it just so happened to be an off-duty EMT, and he did have Narcan. He administered the Narcan to me, and it brought me back. I believe it was 2 doses of Narcan, as a matter of fact. And if it wasn't for this, I would not be here today. Being caught in the grips of my addiction, I had lost power and choice in my actions and behaviors. I no longer had power of choice in my actions and my behaviors. Although I wanted to be a father, and I wanted to be a son and a brother, I was not able to do that anymore because all my mind could go to was continuing to feed my addiction. Because of the Healing Place, though, I've known a new way to live. They showed me a new way to live, and I'm forever grateful for that.
My partner and I, we were dispatched on an overdose that occurred on Sunset Drive. A guy had used heroin, and so we get there, and it's your typical response is he has agonal breathing, he's not conscious, he does have a pulse, although slow, and respirations were low. So, we did what we were trained to do. We took him to the ground and opened his airway up, and as we were doing that, we took the Narcan, put it together, and administered it in each of his nostrils. It took about 6 minutes for him to finally come to.
And was it just 1 dose, or?
We gave him 1 dose of Narcan. We've actually had really positive experiences. I've been fortunate enough that I haven't had anybody pass away on me before I get there. So every time that we've administered the Narcan, it's actually saved lives. In my opinion, we're not here to judge. We're here to help and save people. And if it takes Narcan or something for somebody to get that second chance to where they may not have had it in the past, then to me it's well worth it to save that life. And then you never know, that could be the moment that person comes around and finally wants to make something else with his life, and you gave him that opportunity by being able to administer the Narcan.
Last month, me and my PO were dispatched to a heroin run on Lytle Street. When we got there, we could tell that she was already blue. It had been blue for a little while. Her hand was kind of down, and I could see that when I got out of the car, and I told my PO to grab the Narcan because I could tell that she was probably not doing so well. We grabbed the Narcan, and we were able to administer 2 doses, and she came back within about 5 minutes.
Ashley? Steven, keep your eyes open for me, okay?
And it was one of my first times using Narcan. I'd used it previously, but not to that extent where I'd seen them go from completely blue to come back to life pretty much. I honestly think that these are a blessing because people are going to struggle with addiction no matter what. It is a sickness, and if we can help somebody bring them back and keep a mom or a dad or a brother or sister alive, I think that that's our job. We're here to save people.
So LMPD started the Naloxone project in December of 2015. It's been a year since we've had it, and one of the most amazing things we've seen is just the sheer number of people that we've been able to save as police officers. We've saved over 400 people through the application of this medicine, and that's just the amount of people that police have done. That's not including what our brothers and sisters in the fire department or EMS have also saved. In my career in law enforcement, I have never seen anything that's had that much of an impact, saving the citizens of our community and helping to keep them safe. No matter how these people got into whatever situation they are, one of the things we have to remember is this is somebody's brother, this is somebody's sister, this is somebody's son, this is somebody's daughter, and it's our job to help them. It's our duty to help them. And through the application of this medicine, we've been able to allow over 400 people to live another day, to have another shot at life, to have another shot at recovery, to do the things that they'd wish they'd done. This has been just an amazing program for LMPD.
When we started the naloxone program to treat the overdose victims that we have in Louisville, it was very evident that we had a huge problem in Louisville with heroin use. And when we talked with several officers or made several incidents where officers had to just stand there helpless, not equipped or trained to be able to help the people who have overdosed, it was obvious that we needed to fix that. And by creating and implementing the overdose response program, officers now are equipped, trained, and confident after using the medications to save people's lives time after time. Officers, I feel, have got a better grasp on their responsibility to actually help the people who have overdosed. And because the officers are able to see that their actions by preventing somebody from dying by either using the bag valve mask and providing ventilations or using the medication, the Narcan, officers have got a better feeling on themselves of being able to do their job correctly and actually help somebody first before they just had to stand there and wait for EMS or the fire department to get there to assist the person. And so now officers just have a much better grasp, a much better feel on what they can do to help people in general, because that's our main goal and focus, is to help people in general. And with the officers having this now available, they, by far the majority of them, have all had positive results and all have had good stories that have come out of the administration of Narcan. So when an officer is dispatched to an overdose run and the officer arrives on scene and there is somebody who is blue, who is not breathing, who is completely unconscious and unresponsive, and you now have to make a decision, my actions within the next few seconds to a minute are going to basically change the outcome of this person's life. And when our officers take the initiative to say, hey, I'm not going to let this person die, I'm going to do everything I can to save their life, it's obvious. We've saved over 400 people with the Narcan response kit. So our officers are going that step above what is required and trying to save somebody's life, and they're providing ventilations for somebody who's not breathing. They're doing CPR for somebody's heart who has stopped. They are administering the medication, Narcan, to somebody who has overdosed, and they're bringing them back from the dead. And it's really spectacular that as many officers we have basically over a quarter of our officers, if you look at the numbers, have had to administer Narcan and bring somebody back from the dead. And those people who would have been dead are up, walking, talking, and basically conscious and coherent on their own within a matter of minutes after they've administered the Narcan.
As police officers, we're not just impacted by this problem as law enforcement officers. One thing that became clear to us when we were rolling out the training for this project is officers across the department had experienced the problem of heroin overdoses, other opioid overdoses throughout their lives. It was their family members, their friends, their brothers, their sisters, their children who had been impacted by this drug. So this impacts us not only in our profession but also in our personal lives. Anything we have to take the opportunity to save somebody, whether it's a citizen or whether it's one of our own family members, is an opportunity that we relish the thought of taking.